Hello everyone, my name is Anya, and for this video I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to take a look at the story of a woman who left her impact on the world in more ways than one. I'm taking a look at the story of a woman who was determined to make a name for herself. A woman who made her way onto the big screen, but then chose to leave all that behind and become a princess. So for this video, we're going to take a look at the story of the woman who went from Hollywood movie star to Princess of Monaco. And her name was Grace Kelly. Now, the most obvious question has to be asked here. Who was Grace Kelly? Grace Patricia Kelly was born on the 12th of November 1929 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the third of four siblings. She was born into a family with Irish heritage. Her father, John B. Kelly, was a medal-winning oarsman, and her uncle, George Kelly, was a playwright. Grace Kelly was the sort of person who was determined to make a name for herself. Despite her family not giving their approval at the time, in 1947 she enrolled at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. She was determined to become an actress. Just 2 years later, in 1949, she secured a role in the Broadway play The Father. She began to work her way up, achieving small roles on television, before achieving a small role in the 1951 movie 14 Hours. In 1952, she also secured a role in the movie High Moon. But it wasn't until 1953 that Grace Kelly achieved her first notice and acclaim in the movie Mogambo.
Oh, hi. How do you do? My name is Mrs. Nordley. I'm Kelly, Eloise Kelly. I hear your husband isn't feeling too well. Is he better?
Oh, he's much, much better, thank you.
Oh, that's good.
Mr. Marswell says he's made a very quick recovery.
Speaking of friend Marswell, I wonder where he is. Probably out lassoing some ferocious gazelle or something.
Well, he took the captain back to the boat in a truck. Something about bringing back the animals, I believe.
Oh, boy, I wish I'd had a truck last night.
With her role in the movie Mogambo, Grace Kelly achieved the Golden Globe Award for Best Supporting Actress. She also achieved her first Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actress. Just a year later, in 1954, Grace Kelly starred in the movie The Country Girl. This was the movie that saw Grace Kelly win the Academy Award for Best Actress in a Leading Role.
So the award for the best performance by an actress, Grace Kelly for The Country Girl.
The thrill of this moment keeps me from saying what I really feel. I can only say thank you with all my heart to all who made this possible for me. Thank you.
As an actress, Grace Kelly is also remembered for her work with the famous film director Alfred Hitchcock. Throughout her film career, she starred in 2 Hitchcock movies, Dial M for Murder, Rear Window, and To Catch a Thief. She was regarded as a classic Hitchcock blonde, and she had a good relationship with the director. It's possible she could have gone on to have done further work with Hitchcock, but in 1955, Grace Kelly met a man named Rainier III, Prince of Monaco. After a short courtship, they became engaged. And on the 19th of April, 1956, Grace Kelly and Prince Rainier III of Monaco were married.
On the wedding day, the Mediterranean sun shines as brilliantly as anyone could wish when Grace arrives on her father's arm, past guards of honor from the visiting British, French, Italian, and American warships. A few minutes later, the bridegroom arrives. Now, almost for the first time in months, the blare of publicity is silenced in the beauty and dignity of the nuptial mass. bride waits at the altar, and the bridegroom comes forward to join her. A quick smile from the prince, and the ceremony is due to begin. The Bishop of Monaco conducts the marriage service.
Grâce Patricia, voulez-vous prendre pour légitime époux Régnier Louis-Henri Maxence Bertrand, ici présent, selon le rite de notre mère, la Sainte Église. Ego conjunctum vos in matrimonium in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.
Now comes the moment for the exchanging of rings. The bishop hands one to the bridegroom, who is a little nervous. Grace helps him put it on. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly watch as the young couple kneel to pray before receiving Holy Communion. The wedding is over, and Prince Rainier's bride is no longer Grace Kelly, but Her Serene Highness Princess Grace of Monaco. The nervous tension of the last few days begins to relax as the prince and princess leave the cathedral to greet their cheering people. An open Rolls-Royce waits to drive them on a tour through the streets of Monte Carlo. As handsome a couple as any teller of fairy tales could have described. The prince in his dark uniform with the shining epaulets, and the princess in her ivory gown with its 300 yards of lace and 150 yards of silk.
And so, Grace Kelly became Princess Grace of Monaco. Throughout their marriage, Princess Grace and Prince Rainier had 3 children, Princess Caroline in 1957, Prince Albert, the heir to the throne, in 1958, and Princess Stephanie in 1965. Now that she was a princess, Grace Kelly had to give up her life as an actress. Instead, she focused on philanthropic work. Throughout her life as Princess of Monaco, she worked with various different charities. She was also an honorary member of a charity campaign called La Lèche League. Forgive my pronunciation if I said that wrong, but it was a campaign for the rights for mothers to breastfeed their children. Princess Grace had done this before with her own 3 children, and it worked successfully, to say the least. Princess Grace was very proud of the fact that she had Irish heritage. Throughout her life as princess, she and Prince Rainier actually visited Ireland 3 times, and in 1976, she actually bought her family's ancestral homestead in County Mayo. Here's footage of their first visit to Ireland in the 1960s.
3 hours late, but still smiling, Princess Grace and Prince Rainier of Monaco are welcomed at Dublin Airport by their Honorary Consul General, Lord Killannin, and Sean Limass, Premier of the Irish Republic. And the weather can't damp the welcome, for this is Éire's first royal visit in 40 years. Princess Grace, of course, is practically regarded as coming home. But Dublin's also glad to honour the prince who had the good sense to marry a Kelly. First call for the princess, whose family came from County Mayo, where all good Kellys come from, is, of course, on President de Valera. The father of Irish republicanism meets them at the door of his official residence, where he presents his wife. The Rainiers came to Ireland for a second honeymoon, but with all Ireland wanting to see them, it looks like being a pretty crowded one.
Despite being tempted back into Hollywood several times throughout her life, Princess Grace never appeared in any film ever again. In 1962, Alfred Hitchcock had actually offered her the role in his upcoming movie Marnie. She was tempted to accept the role, but after public outcry from the citizens of Monaco, Princess Grace ultimately decided not to take up the offer. The role was ultimately given to an actress named Tippi Hedren, who is well known for having a very tumultuous relationship with Alfred Hitchcock. Despite having to give up her life as an actress, Princess Grace never forgot her love and passion for the arts, and she was encouraged to help others who also love the arts achieve their dreams. The Princess Grace Foundation was established in 1964 to provide scholarships and funds to those who were interested in dance, theatre and the arts. Princess Grace was able to achieve her dreams as an actress, and she was determined throughout her life to help as many people as she could do the same. Unfortunately, it all came to a very sad end on this day in the year 1982. On the 13th of September 1982, Princess Grace was travelling with her youngest daughter, Princess Stephanie. They were returning from their little villa in Mont-Egel, again forgive my pronunciation, and they were on their way back to Monaco. As she was driving, Princess Grace suffered a mild cerebral hemorrhage, but this caused her to lose control of the car. Despite her daughter's best efforts to get the car back onto the road, the car ultimately fell 120 feet off a mountainside. Both women were immediately rushed to hospital. Princess Stephanie survived with only minor injuries, but her mother was not as fortunate. It was determined that Princess Grace had suffered severe injuries to her femur and her brain, and ultimately doctors concluded that there was nothing that they could do. On this day, the 14th of September 1982, the life support machine keeping Princess Grace alive was switched off. Princess Grace of Monaco was just 52 years of age when she died.
Princess Grace of Monaco, Grace Kelly, has died. She died in a Monaco hospital tonight with her husband, Prince Rainier, and her 3 children beside her. A hospital and palace spokesman have said only, unfortunately, it was true that she died of vascular and cerebral hemorrhage, and the suspicion is that that is the result, or that is the complication of the result of injury suffered in a car accident in southern France on Monday. You may recall that Princess Grace and her youngest daughter Stephanie were driving on a mountainous road in southern France when their car went out of control. It is believed the brakes failed. The car turned over and Princess Grace suffered multiple fractures. Died in a Monaco hospital tonight of complications as the result of an accident.
Princess Grace's funeral took place on the 18th of September 1982. Over 400 people attended, including some of her old Hollywood co-stars and Princess Diana of Wales, who we saw in a previous video. She was buried in the Grimaldi royal family vault. Her husband, Prince Rainier, who never remarried, passed away in 2005 and he was buried next to his wife. Even now, 40 years after her unfortunate passing, the legacy of Princess Grace is still alive today. The Princess Grace Foundation continues to support those in the dramatic arts through scholarships and fundings. Every year there is an award ceremony honouring established artists across the country. Prince Albert of Monaco is the head of this foundation. To honour his wife's great love of her Irish heritage, Prince Rainier actually opened up the Princess Grace Irish Library. Throughout her life, Princess Grace established a vast collection of Irish literature and Irish American music. Now today, the people of Monaco have a chance to explore the works of Irish people such as Oscar Wilde, Brendan Behan, Seamus Heaney. You get the idea. How do you describe the legacy of Grace Kelly? How do you describe the legacy of Princess Grace? The answer to that is, you have to split it down the middle. As Grace Kelly, she was remembered for being a talented actress, a fashion icon, and a classic Hitchcock blonde. As Princess Grace, she was remembered for her charity work, her great support to mothers and children, and her passion for helping those in the dramatic arts. To put it simply, this is a woman who left a vast legacy behind her. And this was a woman who certainly left her mark on the world in far more ways than one. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. I'd like to say that I'm looking forward to my next video, but Let's just say that I'm making this next video under the pressure that if I don't, I may never be able to speak to my mother and father again. So, no pressure. Until the next time though, my name is Anya, and thank you for watching on this day.
I don't think I was accomplished enough as an actor to be remembered for that particularly. No, I'd like to be remembered as a decent human being and a caring one.